For my first ever video book review, I'm going to be talking about Fluke, or I Know Why the Winged Whale Sings, by Christopher Moore. I first picked up this book because I picked up another one of Christopher Moore's books, A Dirty Job. And by the way, this cover glows in the dark, which kind of freaked me out the first time. I had it at my bedside table and turned out the lights, and then all of a sudden my bedside table was glowing, which was weird, but kind of cool at the same time. But back to Fluke. I picked it up, like I said, after I read A Dirty Job and enjoyed that book. And I'm not even sure how I got A Dirty Job book to begin with. I have a tremendous pile of to-be-read books lined up. I've got, I don't even know how many, all of these books. And then pretty much everything on this shelf here is in my to-be-read pile. I just see a review online and get the book and add it to my shelf, and then when I pick it up again, I don't even remember why I got it or what the book was about to begin with. But Christopher Moore, I really enjoyed his first book. He has a really entertaining voice. It's really unique, and his humor makes me snicker and laugh while I'm reading the book, where a lot of the books with the humor, you just smile and like, oh, that was funny. But this I actually was snickering through the whole book, and it was pretty funny. And he also has a really interesting way of using description in his book. I know with a lot of books you can kind of get the same old boring descriptions, and as for me as a writer, I sometimes struggle with how to describe things in unique ways. But Christopher Moore is really good with this. I know, for like an example, in one part in Fluke, there's this man who has, or boy, who has a lot of dreadlocks, and he describes him when he turns his head, it looks like his face reminded him of an octopus being attacking a crab, which I thought was pretty hilarious and unique way to describe things. So Christopher Moore, really funny guy, really unique voice. So I enjoyed the first book so much, I wanted to pick up the second one and see if his humor continues to amuse in the rest of the books. The story of Fluke follows the character of Nathan Quinn, who is a marine biologist studying whales in Hawaii. He's studying them with his partner Clay and their new intern Amy and their new, assistant Kona. Like I said, they're studying whales, and specifically whale song. They're trying to figure out what exactly the song is for, if it has to do with mating, if it's communication, if they're talking long distances, if they're just talking to the ones in their pod nearby, just what does it mean? And to do this, they are also trying to match which whales are singing which songs, because there's little variations in the songs. So they're trying to track a specific singer, and then when the whale comes up and the tail comes up out of the water, they take a picture of the flukes, which is the blades of the tail that the title of the story comes from. And with the identifying marks on the flukes, they can catalog which whale is singing which song. So, about doing that, and in the meantime, Nathan gets approached by this other biologist who wants to start a dolphin park where humans and dolphins can interact pretty closely. And he wants Nathan to, since Nathan is pretty respected in his field, he wants him to give a speech and sign some papers that says that, yes, this is okay for the animals, it doesn't hurt them, it's environmentally friendly, and it wouldn't hurt anything to build a park like this, which Nathan doesn't believe. He thinks it does hurt the animals, so he is resisting this, even though he's being offered money and other incentives to do this. He's trying to keep his integrity and do what he believes and stay away from harming the animals. And while this is going on, he goes out onto his boat with his research assistants, and they're capturing the images of the whales, like their flukes. And as one particular whale he comes up on, the tail comes up out of the water, and as Nathan is taking pictures, he thinks he sees the words "bite me" written on the tail, which is obviously completely strange, and it doesn't look like it's written, it looks like it's marked there, like naturally, which throws him off, and no one else on the boat sees it. And his film doesn't develop right, so he has no proof of what he's seen, which he kind of files this back in the back of his mind, and like I'm just going crazy, he's been out in the sun too long, but he just keeps that in the back of his mind. And then a little later, he comes out and finds that someone has destroyed all of his work in his office. Photos have been deleted, things are all over the floor, papers scattered, discs erased, tapes with the tape pulled out. It's just been destroyed. So he tries to find out who has been destroying his work, and then a little later he comes outside and sees that someone has sunk the boat that they used to go out to chase whales. So obviously someone is trying to sabotage him, and obviously the first suspect is the people who are trying to build the dolphin area, because they immediately offer, like, hey, we can offer you this big, huge, pricey boat if you want it. And so they are kind of the first suspects about that. So Nathan is trying to figure out what is going on and who is trying to sabotage him. As to my opinion about the book, actually I don't think I enjoyed it. Well, I know I didn't enjoy it as much as the A Dirty Job, the one I read before. In Fluke, it starts out really well. I really enjoyed hearing about the whale song and how they studied it. And what was interesting, I thought, in the afternotes, that Moore talks about how he actually went to study the whales and learn from actual marine biologists, which I thought was really great, and it gave it some authenticity, that he actually went out and studied things firsthand instead of using Google, like I've been using for my writing. But that's because I can't afford a trip to Greece. So, but anyway, I really enjoyed the beginning of the book, but then the middle comes, and without giving too much away, Nathan finds himself in this whole different ecosystem or world, underwater world. I'm not sure how to describe it, because it's really, really bizarre. And I had a really hard time suspending my disbelief to keep reading. I actually almost put the book down halfway through, because it wasn't really weird. But as I kept reading, it seemed to I guess didn't get less weird, but I got more used to the idea. So I got all the way through, and it had a pretty good ending. Nothing spectacular, I didn't think. But I still enjoyed the humor all the way through. And looking at the reviews on like Amazon and places like that, there's people who absolutely love the book and give it the full 5 stars. So I guess it just depends on how far you can suspend your disbelief and how well you can handle really, really bizarre or out there story changes. But I will definitely pick up more Moore's books, and because I really enjoyed his voice, as I said before, and his humor and the way he describes things very unusually. So I think I'll definitely give his other books a try and keep going and see what we get from there. I'm looking forward to reading more of his stuff. I really enjoyed him. I'd love to hear comments about if you read it, what you think about his book, if you agree with me that it was just too weird, or if you loved it, just let me know what you think about it. Other than that, I think my next book I'm going to read, since I'm like halfway done with it already, is Need by Carrie Jones. And after that, who knows, I've got a whole shelf back here of stuff to read. I don't know what I want, just depends. Otherwise, leave me comments about any other books you suggest. My favorite stuff, as you can probably see from some of my covers, are Harry Potter, Terry Pratchett, and McCaffrey. The series Unfortunate Events, which is kind of for little kids, but it was just really hilarious. I liked it. Shakespeare, a little of everything. So if you have any good, as long as it has a good plot and funny and interesting characters, I pretty much like it. So any book recommendations would be great. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed this first video review, and hope I wasn't too awkward, because I kind of feel weird talking to myself. So, yeah. Alright, hope you enjoyed. Bye. Oh, I almost forgot. I wanted to specifically mention one scene to, I guess, warn readers about in this book. I wish I had been warned. It was frankly traumatizing. and I will never get this image out of my brain, probably for as long as I live. There's one particular scene where Nathan is talking about something that happens with two female biologists who are out on a boat studying the whales, and I think it was with the whale song. I can't remember what their specific research was, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, they were following a pair of male whales who were pursuing a female whale really close to the surface of the water. They were chasing her to mate. And they get a little too close to things, and the resulting scene is traumatizing and horrifying. And what's even worse is that in the back of the book, where Moore mentions some of his research that he's done for the book, he mentions that this scene is actually based on something that happened in real life to a pair of biologists, which makes it even more horrifying that something like that could actually happen. And like I said, I'm going to be scarred for life. Anytime I see a picture of a whale, watch a video of a whale, I am probably going to think of this scene. So, thank you for the mental scarring, Moore. Really appreciate it. Talking about Fluke, or I Know Why the Winged Whale Sings, by Christopher Moore. Why are you green? Talking about Fluke, or I Know Why the Winged... I'm green again. Why are you turning green? Please stop. I don't like it when you're green. I got to see the real life whales in their habitat, which was pretty interesting to me. And instead of... I need to drink. Product placement. And that, I cannot think of any way to end this, so I should probably think of how to end this before I get to the end.